Hey everybody, and welcome to my channel. Today we are going to be making some mango wine. And the information I got for making this, I checked quite a few. I thought about canning the mangoes, but there's no set thing on how to do that, and there's a lot of discrepancy because the pH levels of them can really vary, so there is no set thing that's... So I kind of want to look more into it before I think about canning. I don't just automatically see something online or, you know, just decide to go do something. I look into it and get the information about the things before I do it. So I want to spend some more time looking up information on canning. So in the meantime, I'm going to make some of this mango wine. And I found a recipe that I have everything at the house that I need to make it. And it came off of the way I'm making it, Moonshiners Club. And I will put a link down below for that site where I got this recipe off of. And I know a lot of them, they do it a different way, because the thing is they complain about the amount of pulp in it. But I'm actually going to use the mango wine and use the mango wine to do mango slushies. So I'm not worried if a little bit of pulp gets in there. So what I'm going to need is, I had to adjust everything because I don't have the amounts that they are calling for. So I basically take the recipe and I'm cutting everything in half, and I had to get it straight down. So I have 2 big mangoes, which actually ends up being the right amount of mango that I need for half the recipe. Then you're going to need 12 and a half cups of water. You're going to need 2 cups of sugar, and you're going to need half a pouch. This is 15 grams, so I'm using half of that. And this is wine yeast, so you're going to need. So those are things that you're going to need. I've already actually did a second one because another jar in here, but I've already taken my jar and it was washed in soapy water and it has been sterilized. So this is what I'm going to be doing my wine in. And I actually have another one in there as well, because I'm possibly going to start my dandelion wine today. We'll see how things go. So the first thing that I'm going to have to do is I need to take my mangoes and I need to peel them. So I might have to switch. Well, this one might be okay. It'd probably be easier to use a knife, but I don't have a lot of mango, so I want to make sure I get as much of it as possible into this wine. This is actually, I've been wanting to make wine since last year, and I just haven't done that. I've got everything I need, because I originally was going to make some dandelion wine, but I don't know, something got in the way and I never got around to it. So I still have the stuff to do dandelion wine. Okay. So what I am doing, this out of the way, I'm going to cut. I've got my blender because we're going to be blending up the mangoes in there. First I need to cut them. I'm going to cut them into cubes to make it a little bit easier, probably. And I need to get that seed out of there as well. I was just seeing a thing on Facebook not that long ago that was talking about the seed, and then it's actually supposed to be really healthy and things that you can do with it. Okay, so I've got all the mangoes put in, and I'm going to blend this until it's smooth, resembling like an apple puree is what it's saying. So let's blend that up. to a non-metallic plastic, meaning not plastic or stainless steel. It says a wide container, but I prefer this one, so I'm going to be using this. It's telling me to put that into the jar, so I'm going to use this funnel. It's got a nice wide thing on it. See what we can do here. It's going to be slow, but that is fine. I guess if you could use a cooking pot or something like that to do it, but with the tiny batch that I'm doing of it, I can't see wasting all that, so. Okay, now with that, it's telling you to pour half of your water and half of the sugar that you're supposed to use. So let that finish. So we're going to need to put a cup of sugar in there. And I'm actually going to use a different funnel because I don't want it sticking in with all that stuff. There we go. It had a clunk. I'm also going to have to put the water in. And that's going to be 12.5 cups of water. There we go. So I'm going to pour in my water. And the sugar is basically feeding the yeast to get it to work. So this right here is 8 cups. Okay, so that's all the water put in there. We got to add the citric acid, so we need to put that in. Take some measuring thing. So we're going to use lemon juice. And we have to add our yeast in, which for this is going to be half a packet since we're doing half. I can't imagine doing any more than this because that's such a large amount. I mean, the way it is now, it's going to fit into here perfectly. Okay. So we have put in all the water, we put in half the sugar, we put in the citric acid, and we put in the wine yeast. So what we got to do now, it says to mix it, but we can't mix it because we don't, in that manner anyway. I am going to, actually I guess I probably could. Okay, so to mix mine, I'm just going to do it by hand. Okay, and I actually have a long spatula and I'm kind of using the other end of it to mix it. It's not going to be perfect because there's still, you can see all the little pulp in that mixing around, and that's going to be fine. So I'm just going to check and make sure that I've got, the important thing to me is that all of it that was on the bottom is no longer there, which it is not. Okay, next it's saying that we need to cover this up with a cheesecloth. So I've got a piece of cheesecloth here. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to tie it. I'm just using this extra string that I've got here and just going to tie it on there nice. Okay, so now we have to put this container and we have to put it in a dark place that has a stable temperature, and we have to leave it for 4 days, and we have to stir it 8 to 10 hours to sink all the floating pulp. So we have to make sure there's any if there's any pulp that it's going down to the bottom, so that when 4 to 10 after the yeast were added, you should notice foam appearing and hissing sound, which means that everything is going fine. So we're going to let this for 4 days, and we're going to stir it every 8 to 10 hours and let it do its thing. So I'm going to put this down in my basement. I have a dehumidifier. It's a stable temperature. It's nice and cool down there, but it's not damp. So that's where I'm going to put this, and I'll go down and stir it, and we'll check on it as we go. Okay, everybody, so I have been going down into my cellar every 8 to 10 hours. I've been going actually more than that, and then been trying to go like 3 times a day down there, and then a short time during the night I won't, and then so that way I'm trying to make sure. So you're going to go in and you want to have it in a nice cool dark place, and if you look in the top you'll see all the bubbly. That's actually from the yeast doing their work, and everything starts to float to the top, which is why they want you to stir it, so that any of the pulp or any of that goes back down. So this one of course has a regular lid, so I can't really stir it that way, so I'm kind of stirring it in an old-fashioned way. So I've been going down there and stirring it up really well, and that's making sure that the mango chunks, which there's not much because I blended mine up really well till it was more like mush, and so just mixing it all up, and tomorrow I will be able to do the next step, which is the final step before the long period of time that it sits, and I'll be adding some of the sugar, and I'll be adding in my, this is an actual airlock, It allows the air to go out, but it doesn't allow any of the air or dirt from outside to get down into it. The other option is to use a balloon. You just have to go down and check it, and because the balloon will get really big, so you just have to like kind of lift up the lip of the balloon to let the gas out so that it doesn't make it pop. I may end up just using the balloon because I do want to start my dandelion wine, and I would much rather use this on the dandelion wine. But either way, this will be used on one or the other. So I guess we'll see you tomorrow. So we have been through this is the 4th day. So now the next step is for us to take our mango wine, and you can see I haven't shaken it up or anything. You can see the froth on the top. So I'm just going to shake it up a little bit. And okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my cheesecloth in another strainer, just make it easier for me to try to do it. And I'm going to strain out the mango. Drain through. I already have my new container that was cleaned and sterilized, ready to go. And it's going to be pretty cloudy when you put it through this first time.
I let myself get distracted by something else and forget about that. Now while I'm thinking of it.
I'm going to squeeze the juice out of what's left here. Thank goodness I caught it. And then what's left here of that is going to go in the trash. Now what I'm left with, as you can see, is it's not clear, but you won't see hardly any mango pieces. I'm going to take my mango here, and I'm going to add 25% of my sugar, and the total was 2 cups, and we still owe a cup left, so I'm going to put in a half a cup. I'm going to go ahead and stir that up real good. I'm going to take my funnel, and I'm not going to try to pick the whole thing up and dump it because I will end up spilling it everywhere. So I'm going to do mine a little at a time. I have 3 of these jars, and they're gallon jars. So it works out terrific. And what will happen is it'll continue to ferment, and in 8 days from now, I will put in the last half a cup of sugar into it. And they said you want to have your jar no more than 75% full. There we go. So as you can see, that's pretty, not too awful bad as far as clearness. And I'm not going to use my airlock at this point. I'm going to use a balloon. This is the old-fashioned way of doing it. And I'm going to just take this balloon. I'm going to put it over the lip of it. And as the gases are released, it is actually going to make this balloon blow up and it'll get bigger. So I'll have to keep my eye on it, because as it blows up, I'm going to need to lift the edge of it to let some of the gases out so that the balloon doesn't pop. If it does pop, I'll have to put another one on it. So, so I have this. I'm going to put it back down in my basement into the nice, cool, dark place, and I'm going to let it ferment. And in 8 days, I'm going to add the other half a cup of sugar. So this is, I guess, we'll see in 8 days, and I guess we'll start the second part of that. Okay, so it has been 8 days since I added the last sugar in. So the next step on my mango wine is going to be, turn this here so you can see. As you can see, it's still, so I'm going to add the last half cup of the sugar. Okay. And then I'm going to put my airlock or your bubble back on my balloon. Stretch back over here. And I'm going to stir mine up here. Try to keep them completely settling in there a little bit. Okay. And that's all I got to do. I'm going to put it back down into the dark air space. You can have it a dark closet at room temperature. I'm putting it down in my pantry area down in the basement. So that's going to be it. I'm going to put it down there. It's going to take between 35 and 60 days to finish up. And you'll know it's done because the balloon will no longer be up. It'll be like down and flat. It won't be letting off any more gases or anything. So that's going to be it. I hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll see you in a couple months when it's all finished and we get to have our tasting party. So I'm looking forward to that, and we'll see you next time, guys. Thanks a lot.